Good morning. Delegate Assembly will please come to order. Not seeing a quorum here, but I could be wrong. All right, Major Matinos, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I'd be happy to. Is this on? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. People are pretty scattered out, but looks like a quorum's going to be close. All right, no problem. Please have a look at the minutes. And while you're digesting the minutes, we will have, please, the law enforcement report. Lieutenant.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see everyone this morning. And got a nice long holiday weekend coming up. Hoping everybody enjoys their weekend with family. Cookouts, fireworks, having fun. And now I'm going to talk about fraud. Okay. So everybody knows this has been a big topic, but I do get bulletins every once in a while that, I really enjoy giving you the information. So if you have family or friends that have issues and they bring this up to you, you'll at least have a little bit of knowledge and tell them pretty much to stay away. So this is actually a local bulletin, and this is out of our District 1, which is our headquarters area. They had 3 fraud cases recently, and this just came out June 24th. And the suspect called victims to advise that they worked for PBSO and that there was a federal contempt of court warrant for their arrest. Usually we'll come knocking on your door. We're not going to call you. So they told the victims, go to their banks and withdraw the bond amount, which they probably make up some sort of amount. And then they are given a location where they're going to meet this bond person. They ask for the car that you're driving so they know when you pull up that you're going to have money to give to them. And once they get to the location, the victims are told to give the money to this person who's described as a black male, 20s to 30s, 5'10", 6 foot, 160 to 170, with dread braid hairstyle, dark skin, wearing bond agent law enforcement apparel. So that happened here locally. So that's just, there's a story for you on that one. And I also got some other information here. And what I'm going to discuss is going to be pretty familiar to everybody because I've talked to cases that were actually real and that happened here in Century Village. The tech support scams. So you'll get a pop-up on your computer that you have to call a 1-800 number or a 188 number telling you that your computer's been hacked and you need support immediately or you're going to lose your files and your computer's corrupted and so on and so forth. It's a very popular scam. The old confidence and romance scams, and that's happened here in Century Village. I've talked about some cases that have happened here recently where some residents have lost a very significant amount of money to a romance scam. And normally those romance scams are dealing with people that are international. They're normally not suspects within the United States. They're normally in other countries. Did we? Oh, geez. Charity scams. So we get the cold calls at our house. Some say that they're like the Police Benevolent Association or like troopers that support law enforcement. They come up with all kinds of terms. Now, you may have a charity that you enjoy giving funds to, and that's perfectly all right if it's something that you're familiar with. If it's something that you're not familiar with, you remember the old saying, I've given at the office? Remember that? That's like been the long time term that everybody used many, many moons ago. Which we don't give at the office anymore. We usually send it through computers or cell phones or some other way we get that money to them. Those are very, very popular right now. You don't know what's legitimate and what's not. But if there is something common that you like to give to, by all means, if you're comfortable with it, go ahead, but just be wary that there are some suspicious type of organizations that are out there that are trying to solicit money. And then the new stuff is the health insurance and COVID-19 scams. The scammer will post as a Medicare representative to get the victims to share their personal information. Some of the scams, remember, they don't involve trying to get the money for you right up front. They want your personal information. They want your date of birth. They want your social security number. They want banking information. They want stuff that they then can go behind you and then do some work on computer systems using your personal information, and then they'll extract and withdraw money without you even knowing it. So just a few things just to keep in mind. As far as the monthly report goes, listen, we're in really good shape. Last month we only had one crash. That's outstanding. You know, and I say that in like a good way because listen, you know, normally we average like 4 to 6 crashes in Century Village, but maybe it's because we're in season and a lot of people went away. But it's good, right? One crash. That's awesome. We actually wrote less citations here. We wrote 17 citations, and we wrote 14 written warnings within Century Village. So the enforcement is still continuing. Just know that everybody needs to stop at the stop signs, and they need to obey the speed. Super, super important. Calls for service and cases that we took, police reports actually went down. We had 196 calls for service. That's really on the low side for June, and of that, 47 resulted in a police report. Nothing really to speak of. I'll go over some stuff that we have, cases of interest. In June 9th in Chatham, somebody reported that their residence was burglarized, but nothing was taken. Over in Kingswood on 6/23, a victim reported that somebody tampered with their deadbolt, but no entry was made. On the theft side, over in Sussex, we had a bicycle taken from a storage room. In Wellington J, a lockbox was cut from a door handle. I'm not so sure where they were trying to do with that one. In Waltham B, an electric scooter was taken. And another good news thing is, you know, I really don't have too many fraud cases to talk about. This is real good. I do have one that happened in Dorchester on June 15th. The victim mailed a check to the IRS via the mailbox near her condo. The IRS never received it, and it appears that the check was intercepted and washed. And I'll explain that in a second. The loss was almost $2,500, which, you know, to the residents in here, that could be pretty significant, right? You know, we watch our money. So what happens is there are people that steal mail, and what they do is they look for checks. Checks these days are a little bit less common than they used to be many years ago because you can have online banking and you do not have to write a check. But some people still go old school, and that's okay. So what they do is the suspects take your check that you write out in pen, and they wash it. More or less, they stick it into a liquid that takes away that ink on your check, and then they rewrite that check for whatever amount. You know, they can write it for $2,500, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it is, and then they submit it hoping to get that money. So check washing still does occur. Over on Wellington, we had an identity theft. The suspect obtained a duplicate of the victim's driver's license. And that's really it. That's a super good month for here in Century Village for June. We like to go in the downward direction, not upwards. But I'd like to take any questions. Anybody have any questions that you would like to ask? All right. Ma'am? So I'll tell you what this lady had asked is, what about all the police that are asking for donations? Listen, I don't know one legitimate organization from another. I typically, if I want to give to an organization, I will do my own research and find out their legitimate address and their legitimate information and get them the money that they well deserve. The cold calling, you know, you're taking a crapshoot there. You know, one can be legitimate, 2 or 3 of them may not be legitimate. And it's really up to you. If you're not comfortable, just tell them you gave it the office, just like I said, or hang up on them. And but unfortunately, all our phone numbers are in some database, and they're going to find us at some point. They don't know who you are, but they know your phone number because they buy, you know, sheets of numbers from companies, and they call you up. So if you're not comfortable, just hang up on them or say no thank you and just conclude the call. Ma'am? Okay, I'm not so sure I understand. Are you talking about into the, so the question is an unsecure area at the bank, are you talking about? At the mailbox, unsecure? Okay, so the mailbox is really the responsibility of the U.S. Postal Service. So if there's anything wrong with the mailbox, the locking mechanism, I'm sure Donald Foster from here from UCO can assist you, but mailboxes and mail is really under the auspices of the U.S. Postal Service. Now, if there's a theft, you can call us. We'll come out and take an initial report, but that information would be forwarded to them. So if the box is not... Right. Yeah, no issue. I mean, if the box isn't secure, then don't put anything in it. You know, obviously try to use a different one that is secure, and it is locked properly. Any other questions I can answer?
Well,
Ma'am? Sir? Ma'am? Go ahead, sir. Ma'am, go ahead. Okay, I'm not so sure how much time we...
I sent out a bar mitzvah card with a check in it. The check was for $50. Somebody opened that card because they knew it was a card, and they made it $5,000. I looked a little further. I sent a rabbi a donation, and it was a thank you card. You know how the envelopes are different? And $85 was changed into $26,500. I had a big nightmare and headache. I had to change all of my checking and savings. So people, you want to send something, don't send the card or fold it up in a regular envelope. Or get in touch with your bank and see if they have Zelle or something else.
It's really good information. It's important that, you know, if you know somebody that can help you with online banking or Zelle or any other online transfer of funds, it's a lot easier. And it's seconds where that money goes from one person to another. So you don't have to worry about a check. Do you have a question? Go ahead. Is there a formal rule about parking? So whatever you do within your community is your bylaws. So if there's rules about parking, are you talking about your community here? Yeah, so your community parking rules is something that you need to take up here with the board. So whether they want you to pull forward or they allow you to back in or however that is, and some may govern that, that's not something that PBSO gets involved in. Okay. Any other questions?
no, I just want to add that banks do not check your signatures anymore. So where you thought you had some security, it's no longer there. I've spoken to more than one bank, and we've been able to see checks that had no signature that goes through and get paid because it's done electronically. So even your blank checks, I suggest you keep them where no one else can get them, because they could just put down whatever they want and they don't even have to forge your signature.
I appreciate it. Judge?
Was a criminal prosecutor and did many prosecution of many check cases. In this day and age, folks, to that lady, that's a terrible thing that happened to you not once but twice. Don't send checks anymore. You're taking such a risk. And also when you go out to have a debit card on you, if a debit card gets lost, that is extremely dangerous because that money is connected to your account. Credit cards are safe to carry, and if you're going to use mail, get a money order. Go to a 7-Eleven or a convenience store or Publix, and they'll, for under $2, will give you a money order for the amount that you want to send. That way you're safe. You're not sending out your checking and your routing numbers if somebody were to take it. And people are doing that all the time. They're looking for things that look like birthday cards or Hanukkah cards, etc. I think yours was a bar mitzvah card. And they'll rip you off, and we don't want that. So.
Thank you, Judge D'Amico. Anybody else have any other questions? All right. Enjoy your weekend. You have some outstanding speakers here today, to include Judge D'Amico. So enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you in 30 days. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right. Just one follow-up on the question about parking. Some years ago, a PBSO captain, Callaway, I don't even know if he's in the system anymore, said while there is no code, there is no law requiring you to park any particular way in your own parking lot, they would prefer if the license tag was showing, so that as they roll by, they can scan and see the tag. That's not a law, that's not a code, but it's just something to think about. All right? Okay. I'm sure everyone has had a chance to digest the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Am I seeing any that I'm missing? All right, the minutes will be accepted as presented. We have a good number of dignitaries here today. Wait a minute. What was that? Yeah, 128 delegates signed in. We do have a quorum. Thank you for reminding me. We have some candidates here who we will allow 3 minutes, but I'm going to call up the judge candidates first because one of our candidates is a sitting judge and is due in court and doesn't have a lot of time. So we're going to call up Judge D'Amico first. Please, the microphone.
Thank you so much. Karen, would you stand up? I'm Judge Paul D'Amico. I've been your judge for the last 20 years. Karen, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Karen Sipperstein, and I'm running for Palm Beach County Circuit Court Judge, and I am not running against Judge D'Amico.
There's always some confusion about that, so I just wanted to clear that up. I've been your judge. I'm presently sitting as a criminal judge. I've been your civil judge. I presently do domestic violence cases. And matter of fact, as soon as I get done here, I am running to Delray to do domestic violence cases. Prior to becoming a judge, what did I do? What was my experience? I won't spend a lot of time on it because I've been your judge and an experienced judge for the last 20 years. But I prosecuted criminals here in Palm Beach County for 10 years. I was one of your prosecutors prosecuting everything from possession of marijuana cases to theft cases, check cases, rape cases, assault cases, battery cases, all the way up to murder in the first degree cases. I did that for 10 years. At that point, I knew that one day when I was going to grow up, I wanted to be a judge, specifically a county court judge. So I had to round myself out professionally. At that time, I got board certified by the Florida Bar as a criminal trial lawyer, and I left the state's attorney's office with one tear in my eye. And I, in 1997, took a job with the public defender's office and worked as an assistant public defender for 5 years, up until the point of becoming a judge. The 5 years doing the other side of the law was fantastic for me professionally because it rounded me out. It rounded me out as a professional, and it made me a more balanced professional and a more balanced judge. And you want judges with experience who are qualified and who are balanced, because in order to be truly fair, you have to have balance. So This is interesting, this campaign process. I've never had to go through the campaign process, and it is quite the process. The good part about it is I get to meet fantastic people, and I've met thousands of individuals. This group in particular, one of the warmest, one of the most welcome and friendly groups, so my compliments to you. It has been such a pleasure, and I sincerely mean a pleasure and an honor serving you as a prosecutor, a public defender, and now for the last 20 years as a judge. Real quick, this is not bragging. I'm very complimented and humbled by these endorsements. The Police Benevolent Association endorsed me some time ago. The National Organization of Women interviewed both myself and my opponent. My opponent is a woman, by the way. And after interviewing both of us, they sent a delegate to watch me try a stalking trial the following day and endorsed me the following day after that. The Fraternal Order of Police has endorsed me. The International Association of Firefighters has endorsed me in my campaign. Many elected officials, are the deputies still here? They left? Rick Bradshaw, everyone know Sheriff Rick Bradshaw. He's endorsed me. Many communities, top lawyers, and elected officials like Rick Bradshaw have endorsed me. And if you care to know who they are, keepjudgedemico.com is the website, and they're all on there, and a lot others. Newspapers, we haven't sat for the Post interview yet, but I did sit for the Sun Sentinel interview, and I got the Sun Sentinel endorsement last week. Does anyone here get the Sun Sentinel? No, we're not. Do some people? Okay. I was told that the Sun Sentinel was real popular with readers here in the South County. But if you look up the Sun Sentinel, they'll tell you that I'm endorsed over my opponent. Matter of fact, their quote is, Judge D'Amico is the highest ranking county court judge in Palm Beach County, and the opponent has no case in which to run against him. So that was quite a compliment.
Excuse me, your time is up. Sorry.
Please vote for Judge D'Amico. I always follow the rules, and I just want to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. And I do have to run to the courthouse.
Okay, good luck, Judge. And why don't we have the other candidate who is not running against... Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, my name is Karen Sipperstein, and I'm not running against Judge D'Amico. Why am I running? I currently serve our community as a Senior Assistant Attorney General for the state of Florida in the Civil Litigation Bureau. I represent the state, its agencies, and employees when they get sued. What does that mean? I represent judges. I represent prosecutors, public defenders, Tri-Rail, DOT, and many others. I have a wide range of experience. I do personal injury, constitutional challenges, civil rights. And as a public servant, I wake up every day putting my drop in the bucket because it's so important now more than ever to make sure that you elect someone that you feel confident that will continue to serve our community. And not only am I a public servant, but I volunteer extensively in my community. I am the PTO president-elect next year for my kids' school. I have two daughters, 11 and 14. My husband and I, we've been married for 20 years, raise them with a commitment to serving our community because it's so important. Education, I went to Brandeis University. I graduated cum laude. Then I went to Brooklyn Law. I know a lot of people here from New York and New Jersey, and I had an opportunity to speak with everyone, and thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, please give me a call. I've given out my cell phone. I'm happy to answer any questions. It's so important that your judges have the right experience and knowledge to best serve you. And I've been practicing law for almost 20 years, and I have a wide range of experience. I've done conflict counsel at the public defender's office. I've done family and dependency mediation. I also have quasi-judicial experience because I was an arbitrator in New Jersey handling the very types of cases that I could potentially deal with on the bench: employment, contract, business, real estate, and so many others. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This group, strong voters, and I hope I can gain your support. And please tell all of your friends and neighbors. Thank you so much. Vote Karen Sipperstein.
All right. We're going to hear from one other person shortly. I want to lay down a little background. Century Village is getting a very bad reputation. The issue is bringing in contractors and, oh wow, we're going to open up our apartment and yes, it's a very dated floor plan. Let's knock down a few walls, and oops, if the ceiling drops down on us, well, we can handle that later. That's somebody else's fault. We are showing up way too much in Special Masters Court. And in this regard, I want to give a few minutes to John Gennady from Palm Beach County Code Enforcement. John, would you please come up and tell us your tale of woe?
Oh, good morning. This is kind of tall.
Get close to the mic.
I got you. All right. My name is John Gennady. I'm with Palm Beach County Code Enforcement. With me is my supervisor, and I'm going to allow him to speak because he told me to. So, but what they are saying is true. I'm going to let Dwayne Johnson go ahead and explain a few things about what's been happening. It's been happening for quite some time. It's really starting to come to a head, and you guys really do need to understand what's necessary when it comes to alterations and doing any kind of work inside of your units. Okay?
Good morning, everyone. Like John had stated earlier, we have a lot of common violations that happen in Century Village. A lot of them surround the remodeling of apartments or the older apartments that are out there and everything. And it generally comes down to weight-bearing walls and things like this that we're seeing. Unlicensed contractors are being contracted with. They don't have licenses in the state to do this work. It's cheaper. We understand you guys are on a budget and everything. But at the end of the day, we're finding that the guy upstairs is all of a sudden noticing that he's 2 or 3 inches lower than he should be. And you start to see the floors start to fall. And next thing you know, code enforcement gets called. And the building department's out there along with Dean Wells and everybody. And we're having to shore your floors, your ceilings back up and everything, all because we have unlicensed contractors coming in and doing work they should not be doing without the proper engineering paperwork and stuff like that. So what we're doing, we've gotten with UCO and Donald Foster, and on July 15th, we're going to have a presentation here, and it's going to go over, for code enforcement, it's going to go over what we typically see inside of Century Village for violations and stuff, you know. And it's going to arm the tenants that are around the individuals that are hiring unlicensed contractors and give them the ability or a voice to talk to contract certifications, the building department. I know we're going to have a lot of people from planning, zoning, and building here on the 15th to speak of this, and we're going to have a little presentation. And the big part of it is we're going to have contract certifications here. And they're going to let you guys know, because I know that you guys have had some contractors that come in, could be unlicensed. You guys have given them money, made contract with them, and then all of a sudden they disappear. And, you know, you're out your money, you can't get in touch with them, and there's no recourse for it, but there actually is. So on July 15th, I don't know the exact time.
10 o'clock, room C.
Right, 10 o'clock, room C. We will be here with a whole gang of everybody from planning, zoning, and building to put together a little presentation for you guys to help arm you guys against this stuff so that maybe we can help curb this. So we're not taking questions today, but like I said, if we would love it if you guys could be here on the 15th.
Thank you so much.
All right?
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate, the flyer isn't ready yet, but save the date, 15th of July, 10 o'clock, room C. In addition to the county, who's going to send a sizable amount of experts to talk to you guys, I'm trolling for a condominium attorney and also someone from our insurance carrier who will speak on the other side of this issue, which is the liability and condominium administration end of this. I think we need a little help in that regard as well. Well, how about donuts? Will that bring you? I'll make it happen. All right. Room C.
Will it be open
Yes, it will. All right? Thank you.
All right. So, please, make sure you have, you heard the message. Licensed contractors, make sure that they're not knocking down load-bearing walls. This could be really a tragedy. I know there are a lot of other dignitaries here, but we're going to have you come up at the end because we really do have some business to get through. Let's bring up, yeah, okay. I really said pretty much what I wanted to say as regards this code enforcement issue. All right, so let's go around to the officers and see what they have to say. Joanne, you have anything for us?
The only issue that I wanted to bring up today is on behalf of our other secretary who's not here today. When the forms are being filled out for revisions of your delegate, your board and delegate insert contact information, those sheets that are filled out, if you could just make sure that they're all filled out completely, not just the changes. We've been receiving a few in the office lately that are only a couple of changes being made. They sort of come in randomly, and it's confusing. We need a whole new form filled out whenever there is a change to your board. But that was the only issue that I wanted to bring up today. Thank you.
All right. Dominic?
Briefly, we just mentioned about the insurance carrier. I'm hoping that most, if not all of you, have picked up your mitigation report for your roofs. If you have a roof that is older than 12 years old, you probably will lose a lot of it in a storm, and you will be denied coverage from your insurance carrier. So be careful. Tony Salamito has the mitigation reports, and you can pick them up there. And if possible, between now and mid-August, if you have a bad roof, this is the time to replace it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dom. I don't know if you're all aware that there are a few major projects. You're going to see a fence project on the northeast boundary behind the Eureka palms. You might not even notice it. But there's about 2,000 feet of fencing there that's falling apart. Pat Blunk, if you remember him, recommended it be replaced 10 years ago. So that's going to be about a $100,000 project. That line has to be surveyed, and so you'll see that happening. No real change. I bring these things up because I get questions all the time. No real change on the status of housing on the golf course. We continue to deny D.R. Horton, the builder, who hasn't actually purchased the golf course, by the way, because we won't give him a drainage easement. All right? They're going to lay down acres and acres of impermeable surface, also known as asphalt and concrete, and they want a drainage easement through our canals, and we're not going to give it to them. It is unlikely that the county will allow them their only alternative, and that's to chop up Okeechobee Boulevard. So these people don't have a lot of options, and they're kind of hung up. On the issue of the medical center, hopefully Niels will give you the latest on this. I understand that the application, I don't know if it's been accepted or not, but they want to put a synagogue in there and 2 swimming pools. When that hearing occurs, which I understand we did publish, it's been put off, I think, to November. We will speak against against that. And there are already 2 synagogues well within walking distance of this village, and there are plenty of swimming pools. I understand there are many issues of sects and special requirements, but unless this Assembly of Delegates tells me otherwise, we will speak against the establishment of yet a 3rd synagogue and swimming pools in the medical center. And all right, I take that as approval. Moving along with officers, Stewart.
Just a couple of comments. I was asked by the insurance committee to make phone calls to various associations that have not sent in their roof mitigation reports. And the tragedy of making these phone calls was that I couldn't get half the people because either their phones were disconnected or there was wrong numbers. So I'm asking you as delegates to speak to the people in your associations that are on the forms that we are supposed to contact, president, vice president, and so on, that if you change your phone number, please let us know, because if there are important things that we have to call you about that you have to know, we would like to get in touch with you, and unfortunately, it's very, very difficult if we have wrong numbers. It's embarrassing not only for the association, but the individual, but for me making the phone calls. On another note, if you're going to send money in an envelope to somebody who's having a birthday, I suggest instead of that to send them a good bottle of bourbon and scotch. I think it'd be much more appreciated, and no one's going to open, well, they can tell if it's been opened, but that's the way to go. And on the last note, I taught for 54 years in the school system, and I always told my students the importance of July 4th. And again, I will say, living in this country is really better than any other place in the world, and we have to be very lucky. And I think George and Martha would have loved to live in Century Village.
All right. Thank you, Stu. I would note that I did publish on the 4th that Commissioner Weiss sent out a bulletin. I had forgotten the 4th on Flagler. There's usually a very nice 20-minute fireworks display, so you might give that. You got something to do on July 4th. I think they start at 6, but I don't think the fireworks start till 9. Does that sound right? Yeah. It's pointless to fire fireworks in the daylight. All right. Now, I don't know why the treasurer is separated out from officers. The treasurer is, in fact, an officer of UCO. So, Ed, you're next. Well, I don't know why you're last on the agenda. I don't know how that happened.
Planned it that way.
Oh. Well.
Very briefly, we had a very good month. The month came out against the budget, plus 10,000, and we're up for the 6 months, close to $50,000. Now, I keep saying that could change, but at this moment, that's what it is. And we started a study on accounts receivable, and we have several organizations that are behind, and from what we've found out, some of them opted to become their own CAM, and they're having difficulty. Others, for the fact that their longtime CAM is no longer there, they're having a difficulty in starting up. However, I will say this, that when I first came here, we had one association that was $21,000 behind, and it took a long time, but we collected it. I think we may have one bad debt here, It's not for sure, but I'll let you know at the next meeting. I welcome any questions. Anybody have anything to like to add? I will ask one question. Who's having a terrific barbecue? I'm looking where to go. No one invited me.
All right.
I
Any
now
questions
pass
for
the mic
treasurer?
to whoever Mr. Israel says, and I will be speaking later again. Thank you.
If you have a question, you're going to have to come up to the mic. Nobody can hear you. You want to give unit owner money to WPRF to fix the clubhouse. I swear in 12 years, that's the first time I've heard that one. Well, if someone wants to make a motion and expect to pass that we should give a few $1 million to WPRF, please. I never heard of such a thing. That's a new one. You should write something to the paper. All right. Let's go down there to Fausto.
First of all, I'd like to ask, we have a question? Oh, before I say anything, I would like to ask all the veterans to please rise that has helped to keep this country free, to help us celebrate the 4th of July. And let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have to remember why we're in this country and why this country is so great and everybody wants to come here. Okay. Our pill drop has been very successful. We are going to be doing a pill drop every 4 months. The next pill drop will be the Delegate Assembly meeting in September. A flyer will be put out. It will be on 590, 591, and it will be in the paper. And I'm sure that David will put on his blog so that it can be printed and put it on your bulletin board. The second thing I'm going to touch on is mitigation reports, which Dominic touched on. It is the responsibility of the building officers to have an up-to-date mitigation report done every 5 years. That is helpful to you, keeps the condition of the roof and the life expectancy of the roof, and it also helps your unit owners if they're going to get personal insurance. They request that mitigation report and they get a discount on their homeowner's policy. If you do not have that in your budget, you're putting it together for 2023, the cost of a mitigation report is between $150 and $200 today. Put it in your budget. Last month, and in the UCO Reporter, I put in that insurance companies are going to be asking for annual roof inspections. So if it's not in your budget, put it in your budget and be ready to start doing it. I know that there are associations that do it every year, and there are others that haven't done it for 10 or 12 or 15 years. It is to your benefit to help your building keep their insurance cost going down. And like I said, it's a budgeted item. Put it in your budget. You're not talking thousands of dollars. You're talking a couple of $100. The last thing I'm going to touch on today, there'll be a security report, security meeting at the UCO office. It is a closed meeting. What does that mean? It's for PBSO, Platinum, members of the community, members of the committee, and for the officers. It will be recorded, and eventually we will be doing that via Zoom, but right now we're just hoping to record it. And some of the items will be blocked out. If you have an item that you want to be discussed or that should be discussed by either security or by PBSO, please put it in writing so it can be discussed. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful 4th of July.
Thank you, Fausto. And last but not least, Vice President Patricia Caputo.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. They basically discussed a lot of things I wanted to bring up, but it is extremely important. I have called a number of people about their roofs. They're very old. They have toenails, which is not acceptable. That roof has to have straps before it can even be done over. People think they can just put anything over their roofs. You cannot. You have to have a licensed roofer who's knowledgeable enough to tell you what you cannot do with the roof. I'm telling you, as they have told you, it's extremely important that you upgrade your roofs. I know a lot of people are waiting for the hurricane and hoping that they will pay for it. It's not going to work that way. Insurance companies have gone around. They know who has the roofs that are very, very old. I was shocked to find out that some people haven't gotten a report since 1995. So it's the responsibility of the officers and people who live in the buildings. If you see something and you think there's structural work or you know your roof is old, as a member of that association, you can speak up. Don't wait until it's too late or you're going to be assessed $17,000 each. You don't want to wait that long, and you don't want to spend that kind of money. Another thing is, please, please be respectful of the people who work in UCO. We are not paid employees, as people have said, I pay your salary. No, they don't. We volunteer because we care about the community, and we like to make it better as much as we can. The only one who gets paid is the secretary and the CAM, and he's underpaid as far as I'm concerned for what he does. So that's my personal opinion. All of you have a beautiful 4th of July and be safe, and God bless you.
Thank you, Patricia. Why don't we hear from the editor-in-chief of our community newspaper, UCO Reporter,
Why don't we?
Ms. Ruth Dries.
Good morning, everybody. Last page of your packet, you have the profit and loss budget for the reporter. And as you can see, the advertising revenue for the 6 months was $51,000, and the expenses were $31,000. So that left us with $19,000, or an average of $3,200 a month for the 6 months past. We are down some advertising for the summer, which isn't unusual. They will come back in September, I'm sure, but we are still in the black, and we are still ahead of things. When you go out to restaurants who haven't advertised, ask them to take an ad in the Reporter. I can always send them a contract emailed and try to get us some more ads. Other than that, have a happy 4th, and we'll see you next month.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ruth. And this brings us to our CAM, Donald Foster.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to say it one more time. July 15th, 10 a.m., room C in this building. Be there or be square. You are our first line of defense against demolition orders happening to buildings in Century Village, and there is one at the moment that we're dealing with. So please, it's going to be good. This is for the residents of the Somerset section. You may have noticed a big blue paint stain in the parking lot of Somerset G. That was an unfortunate incident where the tennis courts were painted, and then they had a thunderstorm, so the paint ran off into the parking lot. Eva's crew is out there now taking care of it, so it should be taken care of by the time you get back from this. Last thing, on the Avon Street fence project, Haverhill Road, the survey took place yesterday, which is good news, and we'll be applying for a permit next week. As soon as we get a permit, we're going to start that job. So we're excited to get some projects up and running here after a couple of years of kind of sitting in neutral. That's all I have for now. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions for CAM?
Good morning, Mr. Gladstone.
Iguanas. Now we have newcomers from the iguanas, something we never had before. What are we allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do? Are we allowed to kill them, for instance?
All right, there is actual guidance on this from the county. You can kill them. You just can't torture them. All right. So if you want to get out and brain one in the head, feel free. You're wasting your time, and I'm going to tell you why. These things are territorial, and our experience is, and Eva can attest to this because she's the only one with a comprehensive iguana removal program in place for this island. As soon as she gets rid of all the iguanas, others take their place. I've actually seen them migrating from the Stratford section across the lake. So it is a problem. Luckily, I've not seen any issues with the iguanas burrowing into our shorelines, which is the thing we're really looking out for. They kind of kill our hibiscus flowers and our landscaping. And some people just don't like the looks of them. My wife would be the first one. Ruth has a dinosaur outside her back door as well. But as far as what you can do, you can hire a licensed trapper. You are permitted to eliminate them using blunt force trauma. I had a situation where a fellow was sniping them with a scoped pellet rifle. Not only was this, and across a canal, not only is this incredibly stupid and dangerous, it's ineffective because the animal has a brain the size of a pea, and the pellet is the size of a pea. So, unless you've been trained by, I don't know, the U.S. Marine Corps in being a sniper, you're not going to kill the thing. You're just going to torture it. So, we do the best we can with these things, but they're unfortunately part of our lives. I saw a Next Door article yesterday where a lady she complained that one jumped out of a tree onto her head. I hope that's an isolated incident, but yeah, that's all I got to say about iguanas. Thank you.
My principal concern about these creatures, they are in the category of attractive nuisance doctrine for children. Look at the little dinosaur, and a child can get bitten, or whipped with that tail, which is incredibly painful. If there's interest in this, and we've gone through this in cycles, we can put something in the budget to have a trapper come in here and remove them. And so at budget time, we'll take this up, Dan. I'm not saying there aren't a problem. I have nightmares about 500 feet of hibiscus hedge. Now, this hibiscus is one of their favorite foods. And that hibiscus along Century Boulevard, if those iguanas find it, we're out a lot of money. And I think probably an effort should be made. I can't imagine all of our residents going out with weapons and shooting them. I really can't imagine that. But if there are frank, bring them back, buck alive residents in here on your own property, have fun.
Kill.
I don't want to see it, but I will certainly recommend that this maybe be put in the budget to have a trapper come in, and we can probably make it happen on WPRF ground too, get it into their budget. All right, sir.
Good morning. I'd like to know, I know a lot of people when they
Can
come
you tell
over
us
here.
who you are and where you're from?
Oh, Joe Finello, Somerset G.
Hi.
I walk across the bridge coming over to the island quite often to the clubhouse, and I also ride my bicycle. Most people will drive across. We have bushes on both sides of that little bridge, and we have the retaining walls. Anyone that wants to walk by and take a look, those bushes, whatever you want to call them, are the breeding ground for many, many, many iguanas. If you dare take a walk across the little bridge coming on to the island, you'll notice that it is loaded. So I would request that you go get in touch with Eva and have those bushes removed. That will eliminate a big part of the problem. Once again, if you walk over that bridge, you will notice that's where they are breeding.
All right, Donald.
Thank
Donald
you.
will cause that to happen today. Thank you very much. I didn't know we had a breeding ground there for babies. All right. All right. I'm not aware. You got anything else, Donald?
No, that's it.
Okay. I'm not aware of any unfinished business. Is there any new business to come before Delegate Assembly?
David,
Please come up.
I could sit here.
Hold on. Hold on. We got somebody coming up, Ed.
Oh, good.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, Donald, I just want to know if the matter of chickens in laundry rooms
Chickens.
have been resolved.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Apparently, my report of last week ruffled a few feathers, and many of our unit owners were clucking their discontent about the chickens of Berkshire. Look, there's 2 chickens. They're still there. I have an insurance from the building that was harboring them, that they are no longer feeding or harboring them. However, they're still roaming Berkshire. So just, if you live in Berkshire, don't feed the chickens. I'm also working with Shauna to, get a scoop net, scoop things up, take them to a farm. Shauna's on vacation, and I'm leaving for vacation today, so it's on my list, I promise. But in the meantime, don't feed the chickens.
All right. Ed, you had new business?
No, this is a continuation of old business.
Oh, unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Oh, okay, Ed.
If you read the minutes, you recognized in my little section that I brought a motion to the Officers Committee to permit the treasurer to invest in treasury bills. And it was voted down 7-1. I'm the one. We brought it to the Executive Committee, and there was a vote which was very close, 12 for, 11 against, 1 abstention. So according to the rules, it was a tie. However, in actual fact, more people voted for it than didn't. The reason I'm bringing this forward is, if you read part of my article, because the total wasn't published, is we have a perfectly legitimate ability to buy treasury bills. Now, since the last time, I dug into it further, and with the help of Richard, we came up with 3 prior bylaws. And very specifically in the bylaws, you know what it said? Treasury bills. Buy treasury bills. Now, why am I pushing this? Because we earned $500 in interest for 5 months or 6 months. And at the market right now, it's gone up a bit. We could definitely earn $150,000 in interest. Now, the question was challenged as to whether treasury bills are safe. And yes, there is an article what David posted on his blog that said the Treasury defaulted. And they did. But what was their default? When you're dealing with money and payments and receivables, if you don't pay on time, that's a default. But if you read the article a little further, not only was the payment made up, but interest on the delay was paid. Now, I think my number is right. The Treasury was established about 170 years ago, and I think it was Alexander Hamilton. Now, in 170 years, no one lost a penny. Then there was a question of the wording. Well, the wording hangs up on the word or. Excuse me, Richard gave a very good dissertation on it. And
Your time is up.
well,
Your time is up.
I'd like to make a motion.
You can't make a motion, Ed. You're not
You know, the officers can't make motions.
Okay, Ruth?
Arlen, are you a delegate?
I have something to comment on.
Ruth, are you a delegate?
Yes.
I know.
Okay.
You asking me?
Yeah.
I'm a delegate. I'd like to make a motion that UCO, the treasurer, can invest up to $5 million in treasury notes.
All right. Did you say $500?
No, 500 million.
Huh?
500 million.
500
5 million.
What?
That's the GDP of
5 million.
5 million. I added a zero.
Oh, 5 million. All right. The treasurer's wife makes this motion. I think I just want to make a comment. Now, we have a motion. Do we have a second for this motion?
Second.
Okay. Who seconds? We need a name. For the minutes.
John Beloy.
Okay. Go ahead.
I second this motion.
Okay.
Then we go with T-bills.
All right. Sir,
Okay.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
you worked for the Treasury?
Yes, I did for many years.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do.
You are therefore aware that the excuse the Treasury gave for defaulting was, wait for it, folks, the check printer broke. Give me a break.
All right, just give me a minute and I'll explain that. Because I've been in, I'm the president of Stratford B.
Close to the mic.
I'm the president of Stratford B, but my whole career I spent on Wall Street. I was a Wall Street broker and then a Wall Street principal. I can explain T-bills. The T-bills actually came back in 1929 at the crash. That's when Herbert... okay. The president down there put the T-bills in and started getting money because of the Depression. There was no money. They had to get people back to work. That's how the treasuries were created. They put people back to work, and in the beginning, it was a little bit lucrative, but what you're talking about is 1979 and April 26. What happened is there was a default with the system. The Fed defaulted on 122 million worth of T-bills. The reason why is they could not handle the volume and their system was not sophisticated enough. So the system broke down and these clients were not paid. At the time, Paul Volcker, who was in charge of the Federal Reserve, the chairman, didn't like what happened on his watch. What he actually did is he paid additional dividends at a 0.06 to all these customers that didn't get paid. That's 60 basis points. He paid extra. He saw what happened right after that and said the market started taking off with the T-bills. Everybody started coming in and buying T-bills and the other treasury issues. He kept that program for a few months after this. For the next few months, the market went actually nuts. People buying T-bills, treasury notes, and treasury bonds because they were getting extra incentive with additional interest. They were getting 60 basis points on top of what they were already getting. That worked so well, but he didn't want that to happen on his watch, to keep happening like that. He changed that whole system and fixed it. Today, under the new chairman of the Federal Reserve, Herbert Powell, he changed the whole system. There's a new system in there called TAPS, Treasury Automated Auction Processing System. They handle trillions of dollars every month with no problems.
We're going to lose our quorum. God forbid.
Right, and there has been no problem since that. He made up for that one loss to those customers by paying the additional interest to all of them at the time, and no problem has ever happened since. So I think treasury bills is probably the safest thing you could get into. They're 1 year, they're guaranteed by the government. Right now, I think we've been using CDs.
Your time is up, sir.
But they're guaranteed
Your
by the
time
government.
is up, sir.
Okay.
All right.
No, everyone gets 3 minutes. That's the policy. That has been the policy, and I intend to institute it.
All
Everyone doesn't want to sit here and listen to a lot of blah, blah, blah.
Well,
Okay,
it's the
thank you,
truth.
John. Barbara?
Barbara Cornish, Chatham M. I just want to read something from UCO bylaws. The treasurer shall keep a full and correct account of all cash receipts and disbursements and deposit all funds in banks or financial institutions in the name of the credit of our organizations. All such deposits must be secured by the United States government. Now, let me tell you something. The Treasury is the premier financial institution of our country. I don't know if many of you knew it. I didn't know much about T-bills till I was on this financial committee. John, who's on the financial committee, all of the financial committee recommended T-bills for your benefit to the offices. If you get $5 million or less, but we'll say up to $5 million in T-bills for 1 year, you will make over $100,000 that will keep your dues down for the year. That's something to think about. Nobody wants to invest their money. It's my money, your money. Do your due diligence. Look up T-bills. See what the risk is. And as far as what you saw from emails from 2 officers on the stage, don't worry about what you're reading. Find out for yourself. If you don't want to make the money and save your dues, that's up to you, but it's your vote. Read your bylaws, and go on the Google. You can have on your phone, on your computer. If you don't have a computer, ask a friend. Look up the risk of a T-bill. You'll find out what the gentleman just told you there is the truth, the real truth.
All right. Thank you.
I would like to comment.
Where?
Patricia?
Patricia? Yeah, go ahead,
Yes,
Patricia.
yes. It's great, and Barbara says you should do your duty, so let me explain something to you. When we did the road many years ago, with $5 million, people did not look into the facts, did not ask the questions, and then they complained after it was done. So do me a favor, make sure you have all the facts, and while Mr. Grossman wants to invest our money, the $5 million, I don't feel comfortable with it. He talks about transparency. Would you please hit that? And as far as being transparent, he hasn't been. There's been a lot of errors on his part, but nobody says anything about that. We are paying for a machine in the office every single month, $70 or $75 for 4 years that he ordered that we are not using. There has been checks that he took home and he lost. There are bills that he did not pay on time. We almost had the electricity off. So if you ask me, that is not a lie. I don't lie. Anybody who knows me in this village knows I tell the truth and the whole truth. So look at both sides, make your own decisions. Don't just listen to one person. This is our money. I personally don't trust him to invest that kind of money in a treasury bill. You do what you want to do, but think about it. Everybody use the brains you have because you're pretty smart people. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Patricia. I think Doc's next.
If I can get this mic out, a few facts. Those of you with smartphones, I'm going to give you websites to go to. I would put into your phone.
How many does he have?
Treasury bills 1979 delay. You've heard that they were not paid in 1979. It took just 3 months for those bills to be paid with the additional interest. That's the first thing. There's never been another, I wouldn't even call it a default. Reuters, R-E-U-T-E-R-S, calls it a delay. It was a glitch and it was made good. Secondly, if you have a smartphone, Google right now, T-bill rates versus CD rates. Yesterday I looked up a 12-month CD, according to Bill was 1%. According to the Treasury Department, it was 2.88%. That's 1.88% on $5 million is $90,000 a year. That would pay for that fence that was just mentioned. Third is liquidity. If you need money, you know that a CD, you have to pay 3 months interest if you redeem it early. Treasury bills, there's a secondary market, and you can Google liquidity T-bills. You can sell them on the secondary market. You may gain, you may lose, but it's up to you. And finally, 2 words, financial institution. Barbara just mentioned the treasurer may deposit into a bank or a financial institution. On your smartphone, go to treasury.com. It describes itself as the, quote, premier financial institution of the United States. The same exact words. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mary Spear. I'm a resident here in Sheffield. I spent my career as a chief financial officer for large American companies. I just feel that when you invest in treasury bills at almost 3% versus certificates of deposit at 1%, there's a huge, huge difference in the money you can make. Now, the fact that we here have always put money into certificates of deposit at various banks doesn't mean that we should continue to do that when there are other opportunities to invest money. I know that the bank officers, if we were to withdraw $5 million from their bank, would be really, really upset. And I don't think it's our job to make them happy. I think Century Village ought to be the people that get the difference between the 1% and 3%, not the banks. The banks are owned, and the bank officers get paid handsomely. So, in my opinion, this is a matter for Century Village to be in the advantage spot, not in the disadvantage spot. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, hold on. Dan?
Yeah, and everybody's talking about how much the bills are going to make. Nobody talks about how much we're going to lose if we don't do anything right. For instance, the purchase power of 5 million with this hyperinflation, it's going to be this year by itself maybe 8%. How many gallons could you have bought 2 years ago of gas, and how much you can buy with the same 5 million today? We have to keep the purchase power of the bills, whatever it is, the investment, to fight the hyperinflation that we are facing.
Thank you, Dan.
Hi, I'm Karen Davis from Wellington J.
Hi.
I have, excuse me, I have 2 questions for Mr. Grossman. One, do you intend to buy the T-bills on the primary market from the government or from the secondary market?
No. Anybody can buy treasury bills.
That's not what she said.
Anybody could buy treasury bills direct from the treasury, no commission. And if you go on to Treasury Direct, if you haven't done it before, but fortunately we have a gentleman here who has over 20 years experience, you have to go through a certain amount of procedure. I wouldn't say just jump into it if you don't know what you're doing. I don't consider that if you buy it from a bank, it's a secondary market because they provide a different service. Right now, I don't think the service that they provide, we're not going to be trading, is really going to be worth what they want to carry it. But I do want to bring to the effect that a question was raised. What happens if you turn your money over to a bank and tell them to buy your treasuries? And you say, well, 5 million, you're only covered for 250,000. Not true. When you go through a bank, it goes into a separate account that has unlimited FDIC backing, even 100 million, okay? You
Mr.
don't get that
Grossman, my question just
very simple.
My question just needs a yes or a no.
Yes.
Would we buy from the primary market or the secondary market?
Primary, for sure.
Thank you. And now my second question, I don't know if you can answer this or Mr. Israel can answer this. Do you anticipate that $5 million will be needed by UCO in the coming year?
Let me just answer that question for you. My background, as you may know, is a CPA, and one of the tenets of being a CPA, you're supposed to be conservative. Right now, we're running a little over $11 million in the reserve account. I can't foresee, unless a bomb drops, that we're going to need more than $5 million or $6 million in the foreseeable future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, just one point. The answer to that second question is much simpler. We don't know.
Right.
You never know what contingency will arise.
That's very true, Mr.
That money is reserved for major projects. UCO is not in the business of speculation and secondary markets and fifth-order derivatives. This is a very dangerous, slippery slope to get started on. What's next?
What's next?
Eggs?
What's next?
Spot market?
Yes.
Winter wheat?
We have chickens here. We should grow them.
Exactly.
Mr. Israel, I could only tell you that amongst the group of officers who turned down this particular proposal in 2020, I caught a special deal at Citibank across the street. You were able to put in $250,000, and you got 6% interest. And at that point, I was surprised that two of the officers who are still here voted against it. Now tell me, if it's according to the bylaws and it went into the bank and it's making 6%, what rational reason would you want to vote no? And also, we could produce the other bylaws which specifically said treasury bills. I'm not getting a commission. I'm also a resident here, and I think to get $500 on 10 million when we've done it in the past is just outlandish.
All right. The principal issue with the people's money is safety.
David.
And what Dr. Handelsman said.
Who's next?
He said, you may lose money. All right? This is not a risk that we can take with your money and mine. There has to be zero risk. Zero.
Good morning.
All right? All right, we have some.
Good morning, John from Dover.
Hi.
We don't have to put all our eggs in one basket either. I mean, it doesn't have to be the full amount. So that's the one simple thing to consider. The second thing is I was buying Treasury yesterday, talked to the broker, and I got a better rate. I was going to go to Treasuries. I got a better rate with Discover Card at 2.8. So just something to consider. You don't have to put all the eggs in one basket.
Gotcha. Sir.
Hi, Don Demereau from Andover H. And just to kind of piggyback on what the gentleman just said, Israel bond rates are between 3 and 5% right now. I don't know if that's something that we're able to do or not, but I just wanted to put the idea out there. That's
all right. All right, let's find out if we have a quorum. Good question. Steve, how many do you have?
So you still haven't.
How many? 3. You can, all right, now, if we're going to have this vote, that totals up to 8. Our only margin here, we got a margin of 11. So we're very, very close. So this vote should be taken. All right? Is there any further discussion on this matter? All right. I'd like a little help. What am I?
If someone else wants to talk, come up to the mic.
What?
But I feel,
No, we're voting now.
wait a don't
gonna
say
take
no,
what-
you're voting.
Because
Was
we
there
gotta-
any other discussion? You're not in charge.
Neither are
The
you.
man said, is
Neither
there
are
any
you.
other discussion?
You talk too much.
Yes, is there any more discussion?
Ladies and gentlemen, don't be fooled.
Yes, Barbara.
I think all the people in this place, including the officers, think it's time to take a vote.
Okay.
And I think that whatever goes on with you go in the offices, your differences, you should keep them behind closed doors. I don't want to hear this nonsense.
Thank you, Barbara. All right. Everybody, you got your little flyers? All right, we got some counters to help out here. Fausto and that third, and can we get someone, George, would you like to give us a count here? Oh, you got it? Okay, no, forget it, George. We got it. All right, here we go. All in favor of purchasing treasury bills. Where is your flyer, dear? All right, all in favor, please. Now just hold them up. We're taking a manual count here. Huh? Up to $5 million.
No, Fausto, only ones, put your hand up. I got 17. Only ones with the flyers. You better go and find out if that's true. No. Go and find out if that's true. Did you check the balcony? Yeah. I went all the way into the balcony.
All right, let me just verify. 21 in the middle and 21 on the left side?
Yes. What about
All right, how many on the right?
what about the balcony? I counted the balcony. I counted.
My right. What am I getting? Yes? If you don't have a flyer, your vote, you have no vote. The vote is for delegates.
I mean, in all fairness, we have to be fair.
Got 15, you say?
57.
All right, that's 57.
57.
57, yes. How many no?
Oh, you don't do that. You just do the yes. No, you don't do that. You do the yes. Some people are voting twice. Don't. You shouldn't count the no's.
I have no guarantee that you won't vote twice. Why would you do that? You would knock out your own vote.
On the left.
Hold on. 24 in the middle. 24 on the left.
22.
Sorry, 22. And on the right?
A lot of people now voting. They left.
No votes in the middle. No votes.
No votes in the middle. What are you talking about?
Everybody on the end of this aisle over here, they will vote.
Yeah, I know. He said that. They voted yes or no. They don't have to vote.
must be a majority of the votes given.
Of those present and voting, Doc,
They voted the no's. He took the yes.
But this way, you vote against.
do we have a count on the right?
Doesn't make sense.
What the hell is?
Why are they doing that?
Because people are talking.
Jesus, make up our minds.
Really? She's a minor.
All right, hold on. Now, I got two different numbers for the middle. I got 24 and I got 15.
What about the balcony? I counted all those people up there. How did you count them? I can't even see these people holding it up there.
Oh, once, yes.
Fausto, what did you get over on the left?
22.
He said 24.
22. He said 24.
What? What do you got, Joanne? Huh? 8.
Why is it so confusing? We'll have to go down there and count.
We're counting again.
My God.
8. 8 on the right. And what was the count for the middle? 14.
That's 22. I'm good at math.
All right.
22 and
44. And under any condition, Doc points out that you have to have a majority of those present and voting, and 57 doesn't meet that requirement. All right? So this motion does not pass. All right?
19 people.
Boy, that was a feisty excursion. All right, we are now in good and welfare. Do we have anyone to be heard in good and welfare? Yes, Dan.
Does anybody know what's going on with the north side of the clubhouse that it's been closed? Supposed to have been open in October 21.
They're
And
working
we don't
on-
see the end of it. Anybody
They're
knows
working
what's
on
going
the air
on there?
conditioning, Dan. They're working on the ducting. I can't hear you, Ruth.
No.
No,
No.
no, he
No.
just quoted from the bylaws directly. That you have to have a majority of those present and voting. It's not a majority
That's not the way it works.
of the present and voting. Why don't?
Can we adjourn?
Dave, can I speak
Yes,
for a
go
moment?
ahead, Doc.
First of all, how
Right.
how many delegates were there after the two people, 120 delegates, correct?
120.
Yes, 120.
Okay. The bylaws state that it must be a majority of those present. That would be 61. Now, I have put in to change that to a majority, a plurality, more yes than no, but that is not the bylaw at this time. Abstentions and people who leave and don't say, they actually count as their negative votes because they are not for it.
Correct.
On a completely different issue, someone has asked about the north side and the air conditioning. Our lawyer, Bruce Kaplan, has filed for a summary judgment about the air conditioning, that WPRF should pay for it. That was submitted about 5 days ago, but no decision has been made. And as far as the long-term lease, the big lease, Judge Curley said, go back to arbitration.
He issued this 3 weeks ago Friday. I do not know if it will be one arbitrator or three. I do not know if those arbitrators or arbitrator will be bound by the long-term lease, which states the present rental structure must be contained. And that's the present situation for the two ongoing lawsuits.
Thank you, Doc. Ma'am? Yeah, go ahead.
We have guests that want to speak. It's 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I never come up here, and I always vowed I would never come up here. My name is Lorraine Bono Chatham N., and I say the vote was too chaotic. We should have the clickers, something that important. It was completely ridiculous, and we should be able to do research on this before we vote on something that important. This is ridiculous. Come on. Use your heads. Step back. Do research. Talk about it. And then come back and vote with the clickers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have a few folks here who took time out of their various days to come speak to us. Niels, why don't we start with you representing Commissioner Weiss?
Good morning, everybody. So shout out to Donald and Planning, Zoning, and Building for setting up this, this informational event, because too often we hear about unpermitted construction going on in Century Village, and we've seen some of the terrible consequences of this. Greg could not be here. He is driving back from a conference in Orlando, but he did want me to be here to answer whatever questions you might have. Let's see. So Dave already mentioned it. The Century Village Medical Building is slated to go to the Board of County Commissioners and make a stop at the Zoning Commission in November. I know this is a topic of great interest. The moment the staff report is ready, which it is not at this time, but the moment it will be ready, I'll share it with David and with everyone here in the community. Lastly, I'll keep it short because I know everyone wants to go home and I see people leaving. Happy 4th of July. Any questions I can answer, I'm here and I'll stick around after the fact if you don't want to ask in public.
Get those clickers back up. Absolutely.
I
Questions?
guess the batteries are
dead.
Oh, yeah, they're all dead.
All right. Rodney. Rodney brought us a whole box full of the county report and checks and balances, and we will have that at UCO for anyone who wants them.
Thank you, Rodney.
Yes. Hello, friends. Rodney Statham from the Palm Beach County Clerk of the Circuit Court. I just wanted to tell you that if you didn't know, if you're that kind of person who likes to do research, especially on genealogy, you can come to the clerk's office for that information. The information we have online goes all the way back to 1968, and before that, we have it on microfiche film. You can go to our record center at the main courthouse downtown on Dixie, come in there and request this information or do the research yourself. If you look it up online, if you do this research online, it's absolutely free. You can actually come to us and say, here's what I need, do it for me, and that costs $2. So if you want to research the history of Century Village, what was here before Century Village, your own family tree, family history, you can do that, and the clerk of the circuit court has those records. So have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
MyPalmBeachClerk.com.
Boy, I don't know. We got so many dignitaries. Mike Pratt. I don't know where he's from.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Pratt. I'm with the Property Appraiser's Office, Dorothy Jacks, and just wanted to point out to you, those of you that are computer savvy at all, if you want to file for homestead exemption, you actually can do it online. And something new in our office is that as soon as you close on your sale, you can actually file for homestead even without the deed. That and we'll check it beyond that, but you can file for homestead exemption. Now, if you're not computer savvy, we are here the first Thursday of every month. Well, this is the first Friday, and it's July 1st. We will be here Thursday, next Thursday, in the atrium inside the clubhouse here, taking homestead exemptions starting at 1:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon. So if you know of anybody that's due, have them come on down. We'll have a representative and a clerk here to take the actual exemptions, write them out, give you all the information you need. And if you have any questions, just come in as well. Thank you very much, David. And by the way, expect a increase in your valuation, by the way, about over the entire county. It's about 15%. So homesteaded properties will be increased 3%. If you're homesteaded, that's the max. And if you're not homesteaded, you'll get, there's a cap at 10%. So that's what's happening. The market is on fire. My email address, it's mpratt, M-P-R-A-T-T, at pbcgov.org. That's Palm Beach County Government, pbcgov.org. Thank you.
All right. And we have candidate for Port of Palm Beach. Remember Peyton? Sure you do. Marissa Das.
Lovely lady.
Hey guys, my name is Marissa Das. I am running for the Port of Palm Beach. I just wanted to lightly touch on what the previous gentleman said. I actually do insurance fraud. I represent I'm a lawyer for the insurance company. So I want you guys to know that if you don't secure the proper roof permits or the proper permits for work that you do on your house and you have a subsequent claim later on, the insurance company can use that as a reason to deny your claim if the work was not properly done. So it's very important that you are working with licensed general contractors. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so my name is Marissa. I've been a lawyer for 10 years. I'm a former prosecutor, former public defender, and former general assignment news reporter. I'm running for the Port of Palm Beach for the open seat. And, you know, currently, one of the reasons I decided to run is because I was the only one that was actually present at the port. I attend all of the commission meetings. I've been meeting with all of the port tenants. I represent the port on 2 committees. I'm the port representative for the Citizens Advisory Committee to TPA for the county. And I also am a member of the Independent Audit Budget Committee for 2022 for the port. And I'm also a member of the Downtown Development Authority, where I have experience overseeing an $8 million city board budget. So, you know, I definitely have been present. I've already been working for you guys, and I ask that you continue to let me work for you, and I ask for your vote. And thank you so much for always welcoming me into your community. I love being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Have I missed any visiting dignitary? I think the fire department gave up. All right. Okay, we're in good and welfare, good of the order. We've long ago lost our quorum, but if anyone needs to be heard, please step up.
That guy was his own hook and ladder truck.
Really? Yeah.
Put out his own fires.
All right. I'm not seeing anything, so Marilyn makes a motion to adjourn. Without further ado, we are adjourned. Thank you all.